Hi, this is Kevin Trainer. I'd like to welcome you to my tutorial on physical data modeling part 6. And this really is the last part. Up until now, we've been doing, I talked for a while that we were going to do 1 through 5. And somewhere along the line, I realized that it added up to 6. So what's the sixth part? The sixth part is adding foreign keys, right? So way back when we were creating a conceptual data model, before we got to this tutorial at all, we had not committed to implementing our data store with a relational database. And there are technologies that are not relational databases in which you are able to create relationships between entities without having to create foreign keys. Foreign keys is a very simple, very elegant way that relational databases implement relationships. It's very efficient, and as I said, I think it's pretty elegant as well. So because this is a physical design for a relational database, well, we have to make each of these things go. Now, that means for each of the relationship lines that we're showing on our diagram, we have to have a foreign key on one side or the other. Okay. Could we have it on both? Theoretically, you could. It's not a good practice, though. So I'm going to recommend that you don't. So you have to pick one side or the other. Well, right now we have no many-to-many relationships left. We all have all one-to-many. Because we got rid of the many-to-manys by adding associative entities or associative tables. So then where do we put the foreign key? Do we put it on the one side or on the many side? Well, you don't have to think about it all that hard to realize that it has to go on the many side. Okay, because what do foreign keys do? Well, they point from a row in one table to a row in another table. Okay, so if you're pointing from the one side, how could you point at more than one row on the other side? You really couldn't. You'd have to have a group of, you would have to have a repeating foreign key, which of course is not the relational database style at all. So it's only because we put the foreign keys on the many side and point to the one side, because each row on the many side has its own foreign key, and that points to the row on the one side. And so many of them can point at the same row. So we're going to put them on the many side. So let's take a look at how that's going to look. Let's look at student, okay? So, is there a relationship where student is on the many side? Well, let's just look. No, no, no. Okay, fine. Let's look at instructor. No, no. So students and instructors are not on the many side. Now, what are on the many side? Well, these associative entities that we put in. Okay, so we have this associative entity. We have this associative entity called registration. Okay, so it's all key. What are the foreign keys? Well, one of the interesting things about these associative entities is that they serve as both primary keys and foreign keys. So what does it take to point at a student? Well, it takes a student ID. Okay, so student ID is a foreign key. So we're going to highlight it, right click. Oh, didn't really highlight it. Right click, set foreign key. So that says it's a foreign key too. Okay, we've taken care of student. What does it take to point at a course offering? Well, it takes a semester ID, a course number, and a section ID. Oh, these are all part of the foreign key that points at course offering. So we're going to highlight each of these in turn and say set foreign key. Set foreign key. Set foreign key. Okay, so they're all done. All right. As long as we're over here on course offering, does course offering have any foreign keys in it? Well, does it? There's a relationship between semester and course offering, where course offering is on the many side. How do you point out a semester? Well, you point at it with a semester ID. So I guess semester ID, even though it's also a primary key, is a foreign key that implements the relationship has offering. And somehow that got redrawn, which I'm very grateful for because we were having a hard time before, but now it seems to be drawn in an appropriate way, so I'm happy for that. Okay. All right, so between semester and course offering, we've got that. The has offering is taken care of. We've taken care of the two relationships for registration. How about this attendance? So attendance connects to a student and to a class meeting. Okay. Okay, so how do you point to a class meeting? Well, with semester ID, course number, section ID, meeting date. So all four of those are a foreign key up here. Okay. Semester ID, course number, student number, blah, blah, blah. So these are all foreign keys as well. Set foreign key. Set foreign key. Set foreign key. Set foreign key. Okay, and then what about the other relationship? How do you point at a student? Well, what's the primary key? Student ID. Okay, so this is student ID is a foreign key. So one of the interesting things, you see a pattern here, is that for these associative entities, their keys, the primary keys are the combined primary keys of the two things that they connect. And then all those fields also participate as a foreign key, right? So it's keys all over the place. Okay, so we've taken care of semester, attendance, registration, course offering, instructor, student. Let's look at course. Okay. We have a relationship between a course offering and course, okay, where we're pointing from the course offering to the course while we don't have a field over there to do it yet. Well, we don't need it being part of our key, so it's a plain old attribute. So why don't we add it? Let's insert attribute after. Okay, we have to insert a course ID. So we're going to have a course ID. Okay, and that course ID is an int. That's fine. That points over to this course ID. And that course ID is the foreign key that makes that relationship go. Okay? So a course offering is, it was supposed to be offering of. I don't know how I got offer of. offering of, okay, offering of course, okay. And, you know, I haven't saved this in a long time, and it's probably not good practice. So I'm just going to save that to make sure that I'm okay. I probably should have saved it with a new name, but thank God I've got version control, so I'll be able to recover that error. So the course ID gets that working. Oh, here's the connection that wasn't work between a semester and a student. Oh, well, that was drawn well before. Now that seems to be drawn badly. Okay. I guess, well, we're okay. So that one's okay, although the drawing of the line's bad. Class meeting, okay. Class meetings on the many side of this relationship between course offering and class meeting. So what does it take to point to a course offering? A semester ID, a course number, and a section ID. So they're all foreign keys. Semester ID, course number, section ID. Okay, so now we have a foreign key on the many side that implements that relationship. Okay, not too many things left. We have a system user. Okay, now the system user is on the one side of everything. Okay, so we don't, it doesn't get any foreign keys. You only put the foreign keys on things that are on the many side. So this permission associative table or associative entity, it's on the many side, on both sides, so it's going to have to point at both of those. So to point at a system user, you need a user ID, so that's a foreign key. Okay, and what does it take to point at a role? Well, you need a role ID, that's a foreign key as well. So foreign key on that. And now we've got it. Okay, so if you really think about it, the hardest thing that we had to do is we did have one case where we needed a foreign key and we didn't have the attribute. Okay, that was on course offering. We had a relationship between the course offering and the course, and we didn't have the attribute for course ID. So we had to add it and we had to mark it as a foreign key. Apart from that, we already had the columns there. We just had to mark them as being foreign keys. And that's it. So we've come to the end here. It's all over but the drawing. These are on probably 4 different sheets. And if I did a little bit of handiwork, I can probably get them on 3 and make it look a lot prettier and easy to read. But we've got the job done. We've met the requirements for a proper physical data model. And I hope this works as well for you as it worked for me. And I'm going to say bye. Bye-bye.